Thank you. Colleagues, today I rise to ask your support for on this resolution, and I want to thank my colleague, Ms. Rahman, for seconding it, and I especially want to thank the hundreds of parents and teachers who wrote in to support it, and Dylan Hosier of the Israeli-American Civic Action Network for his activism on this. This resolution simply supports recent policies adopted by LAUSD to prevent and combat anti-Semitism at Los Angeles' public schools. While the message is straightforward and fairly non-controversial, it's particularly important now because anti-Semitic incidents are on the rise in California, in Los Angeles, and across the nation. In addition, there is a well-organized and systemic effort among some educational stakeholders to demonize Israel and disenfranchise Israeli immigrants in Los Angeles. And if we don't stop this effort in LA, it will spread to other places and around the country. Israeli, Jewish and Arab alike, and American Jewish students, staff, and families within LAUSD schools and offices maintain cultural, linguistic, historical, and family ties to Israel. Efforts to marginalize that connection violate their educational and workplace rights, and by extension, legitimize bigotry to all religious, ethnic, and other marginalized minorities, especially immigrants. And like any immigrant community in Los Angeles, I believe that Israelis deserve the right to connect to their culture and celebrate their heritage free from bias and bigotry. This resolution in support of LAUSD's efforts to combat anti-Semitism helps preserve this right. I wish in this day and age that this resolution wasn't necessary, but it is. It is necessary because some at LAUSD were promoting a BDS, or boycott, divestment, sanction motion, which was not only inappropriate and way outside of the scope of LAUSD's jurisdiction, but it was anti-Semitic in my estimation, because it treated Israel differently than every other nation and would put Jewish students and teachers who rightfully support Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state in a terrible position and subject them to a hostile environment. Even if the vast majority of students and teachers had real problems, like I have real problems with Netanyahu's policies and practices, that BDS motion was not only biased and one-sided and based on spurious assumptions, it dehumanized and demonized Jews and Israelis. Our kids are dealing with enough turmoil to try to get back to normal. Sitting in a classroom after managing horrible learning experiences outside of the classroom for a year, why would we want to create an even more anxious environment for any of our students? Every child should be able to learn in peace. The behavior of those promoting BDS has no place in our schools and is just as antagonistic and contrary to what we teach our children about being inclusive. The motion before us doesn't address the BDS issue. It merely is against hate and anti-Semitism. But context is important, which is why I raised that, and I ask for your aye vote on this resolution.
Thank you so much, Mr. Blumenfield. Seeing no other speakers on the queue, Madam Clerk, can you open the roll on this item? Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That takes us to